On the evening of October 14, 2018, Emily Carter, a 28-year-old graphic designer, vanished from her quiet suburban apartment, leaving behind a series of baffling clues that continue to haunt investigators to this day. What happened to Emily Carter? The answer seems to be locked away in a puzzle box of contradictions, strange occurrences, and evidence that defies all logical explanation. Let's rewind to that fateful Sunday. Emily was described by friends and family as a homebody, someone who valued routine and predictability. Her week was meticulously planned. Her apartment was always tidy, and she rarely deviated from her schedule. So, when she didn't show up for work on Monday morning, her colleagues were immediately concerned. Calls to her phone went straight to voicemail. By Tuesday, after she missed a crucial client meeting she had been preparing for weeks, her boss reported her missing. Police conducted a wellness check at her apartment. There were no signs of forced entry. The front door was locked, and the deadbolt was engaged from the inside. Nothing appeared to be stolen. Her wallet, keys, and purse were all on the small table by the entryway where she always left them. Her car was still in its designated parking spot. It was as if she had simply evaporated. But as investigators combed through the apartment, the first pieces of this unsettling mystery began to surface. On her kitchen counter sat her phone. The last message she sent was to her best friend, Sarah, at 9:32 p.m. on Sunday night. Sarah had texted her asking if she was ready for their planned Monday morning coffee. Emily's reply was chilling and enigmatic. Just 3 words. "He's already here." Who was he? Emily wasn't known to be dating anyone. Her social circle was small, and no one could identify a man she might have been expecting. The message implied someone had arrived, yet the deadbolt was locked from the inside. How could someone have left and locked the deadbolt behind them? Or was the message about someone who was never meant to leave? The next clue was found in the kitchen sink. A single drinking glass, still wet, as if it had just been rinsed. It was out of place in Emily's otherwise spotless kitchen. Forensics lifted a partial fingerprint from the glass. It didn't belong to Emily. When run through the national database, there was no match. This unknown print belonged to a ghost, someone with no official record. Who was this person? And why were they in Emily's apartment? Why was their glass the only thing out of place? The timeline became even more convoluted. Detectives began canvassing the neighborhood. A gas station across the street had a security camera pointed roughly in the direction of Emily S. apartment building. They eagerly pulled the footage for the night of October 14th. And that's when things got even stranger. The camera feed was crystal clear for the entire day, up until 9:25 p.m. At that exact moment, the camera began to glitch. The footage became a mess of static and distorted colors for a solid 15 minutes. At 9:40 p.m., it returned to normal, showing nothing out of the ordinary. This 15-minute window, centered perfectly around the time Emily sent her last text message, was a complete black hole. The gas station owner said he'd never seen the camera do that before or since. Was it a coincidence, or was it a deliberate, technologically advanced interference? The case went cold for nearly a week. The public was on edge, and the police had no new leads. Then, on October 22nd, 8 days after Emily disappeared, a call was placed to the police department's non-emergency line. The dispatcher who took the call was stunned. The number that appeared on the caller ID was Emily Carter's landline. The call was coming from inside her apartment, an apartment that had been sealed with police tape since the investigation began. The dispatcher tried to speak to the person on the other end, but there was only silence. Not the silence of a deadline, but the distinct, unnerving sound of an open, empty room. You could hear the faint hum of a refrigerator, the distant echo of a car horn outside, but no voice, no breathing. Police raced to the scene, expecting to find a squatter or even Emily herself. They breached the apartment, guns drawn. It was empty. The police tape was undisturbed. Everything was exactly as they had left it. The windows were still locked from the inside. No one had entered or exited the apartment. Yet, a call had been made from the landline phone that sat, untouched, on its cradle. Experts from the phone company were brought in, and they confirmed the call had originated from that specific line, with no spoofing or rerouting detected. It was technologically impossible, yet it had happened. This single event transformed the case from a standard missing persons investigation into something far more bizarre, something that seemed to defy the very laws of physics. The media frenzy was immense. Theories ran wild, from a highly sophisticated stalker to paranormal events. But the strangest piece of evidence was yet to be discovered. Emily's apartment building had a small, shared basement for storage. Each tenant had a locked cage. Emily's cage was secured with a heavy-duty padlock she had bought after a previous tenant complained about theft. Police had to use bolt cutters to get inside. It was filled with the usual things: old furniture, boxes of seasonal decorations, and winter clothes. But tucked away in the far corner, underneath a dusty tarp, was a small, locked wooden box. With no key in sight, they had to pry it open. Inside, they found a collection of old photographs and trinkets from Emily's childhood. But there was one photo that didn't belong. It was a Polaroid, a type of instant photo that develops within minutes of being taken. The photo was of Emily. She was standing in the middle of a dense, unfamiliar forest, staring directly at the camera. Her expression was blank, almost vacant. She looked thinner, and her clothes were slightly tattered. But the most horrifying detail was written in black marker on the white border at the bottom of the Polaroid. It was a date, November 3rd, 2018. Let that sink in. This photograph was dated 20 days asterisk after asterisk she disappeared. It was found inside a locked box, in a locked storage cage, inside a building she supposedly never left. How could a photo of her from the future be found among her old possessions? Who took it? Where is that forest? The Polaroid camera that could have taken it was never found. To this day, the disappearance of Emily Carter remains one of the most perplexing unsolved cases on record. We are left with a series of impossible questions. Who was the he in her last text? Whose fingerprint was on the glass? What caused the 15-minute camera glitch? Who made the silent call from her sealed apartment? And most unsettling of all, how did a photograph from the future end up in her basement? Was Emily the victim of a criminal mastermind who planned every impossible detail? Was she involved in something far beyond our understanding? Or did she simply step out of our reality and into another? The answers are still out there, waiting to be found, hidden within the silence of an empty apartment and the haunting days in a photograph that shouldn't exist. Thank you for watching. If you found this case as fascinating and chilling as I do, please hit that like button and subscribe for more deep dives into the world's greatest mysteries. What are your theories? Let me know in the comments below. Stay curious and see you next time.